Friends, let me wish you all a very happy feast of Christ the King, a solemnity. On this day, the Catholic Church around the world wraps up the year of mercy, which was begun by Pope Francis last year on the 8th of December, which was the solemnity of the Immaculate Conception of Mary. Pope Francis wanted to start a revolution of mercy. And he said, works of mercy are concrete ways to show mercy and be genuine witnesses of the faith. It did literally shake up the church, clarified the church's vocation, realigned the church on its rails, reclaimed its roots, reflected its true nature, and returned to the source. Born from the fountain of Christ's wounded and bleeding side, dripping with mercy, the church needed to get back to the foot of the cross. That is the only preeminent place where Father's ultimate sacrifice was manifested in the sacrifice of His Son on the cross. Let Pope Francis himself tell us what he meant when he started the year of mercy.
Francis.
Yep,
What are you doing?
writing a letter.
Can I have a look?
No, it isn't ready yet.
Okay, fine. But at least tell me what it's about.
About mercy.
And why are you whispering?
Because it's God's secret. The church is called to offer even more significant signs of God's constant presence. This way, everyone can experience the love of God that forgives, consoles, and offers hope.
That sounds really great, Francis. But what about justice? God asks us to be just.
Of course, justice is the first step and indispensable. But the church needs to go further to reach for a higher goal. For a while now, we have forgotten to walk the path of mercy. So, two things are important. The church has an endless desire to show mercy wherever the church is present. And, on the other hand, sad to say, we must admit that in our world, the practice of mercy is waning. It is time to announce forgiveness. For this reason, it is my burning desire that we reflect together and put into practice the works of mercy.
Like feeding the hungry, caring for the sick, helping the needy.
Exactly. And don't forget the spiritual works of mercy.
Let me just write those down here.
They're easy. Counsel the doubtful. Instruct the ignorant, especially poor children in need. Comfort the afflicted. Forgive offense, rejecting all grudges and violence. And, above all, pray for your brothers and sisters. And all of this with joy. Also, the sacrament of reconciliation must be at the center of this effort, because this enables us to experience the grandeur of God's mercy in our own hearts.
Wow, Francis. How do you do it?
Me, but it's Jesus who teaches us these things. Now, help me to share this letter so that everyone can come to know God's mercy.
Well, what does the church expect us to do now? Pure and simple. Firstly, the church expects us and invites us to bathe, to soak, and to be drenched with that fire of love manifested by Jesus, who is the visible face of the invisible God. Secondly, having saturated ourselves in this infinite fountain of mercy and having savored the sweetness of God's love manifested by Jesus Himself, we are called upon to reflect it back on humanity wherever we are. Mercy, by its very nature and definition, calls for action because mercy is a particular mode of love such that when love encounters suffering, it takes action to do something about it. Mercy is a brazen, bold, blatant, unabashed action. And therefore, one might ask, is it possible at all to live like this? Let me present to you two particularly very significant people we all love who have lived their lives on the earth for us to see. Firstly, it is Mother Teresa. Mother Teresa, who had been considered an angel of mercy, saint of the gutter, has lived this very trying life just like you and me. For Mother Teresa, mercy was the salt which gave flavor to her work. It was the light which shone in the darkness of the many who no longer had tears to shed for their poverty and suffering. Secondly, we know of St. Francis. St. Francis, who chose to manifest God's passion for life in what he did and how he did it. Here is a very fascinating story about Francis.
Francis was all about mercy. This story about mercy always speaks to me. Francis went to beg at all around a district of Monte Casale. There was a brother there who heard of the 3 robbers that were all around in the forest, and they were bad men. People that would just as soon beat up your grandma and take her money, and maybe break an arm just to get that pocketbook. Those kind of men. They were around and they were basically keeping people away. One day, this brother, who was simple but holy, they came to the door and they were begging. They didn't have anybody to rob. So they came and they said, "Gosh, can you give us something?" And the brother said, "Absolutely not. You guys, you should be ashamed to come begging. We hardly have anything. What are you doing coming here?" And he sent them away. Well, Francis came in from that begging journey and he had a whole mess of bread in this gigantic sack that he thought, won't the brothers really love this? And a big jug of wine. And he came in and he was glad to be there, but this brother came and told him all about, "Francis, you'll be happy. I saved the friary from these robbers." And he said, "What? You know that sinners aren't brought to God by scolding and shaming, but by God's mercy. Now, this is what I want you to do. Even though they're likely to kill people, I want you to take this sack of bread and this jug of wine and go find them and give it to them. And when you give it to them, beg their mercy." Well, this guy was quaking. His knees were knocking. He was entirely unready to do this. But he did it. Before he could even get out the words, "I'm sorry for doing this," the robbers were just glad to get food from him. They said, "Go away. We don't want you or your words. Just get out of here." But those robbers began to think, why would this guy, after they ate, why would this guy do all of that? And they thought some more. And why are we so angry with people? Within a week, they gave up their life of crime. And a little later, all 3 became friars. I'm like one of those guys, so I'm here. I'm grateful to be here. But I've had my own need for mercy.
Hey, come on, guys. Even in the song, America the Beautiful, we sing this aspect of mercy very well. Did you notice that? I did notice this time when we sang this song on Veterans Day. Here it is. Yes, who more than self their country loved, and mercy more than life. Yes, my dear friends, we can do it if we want it. To wrap up this, let us consider this. The year of mercy was the only launching pad, so to say. It has to be lived in our everyday context. In the words of Francois Mauriac, the day you no longer burn with love, many others will die of the cold. So, what's the deal, you might ask? Yes, the deal is this. Can you begin to do one act of mercy daily? What will be the one thing you can do to be merciful? For example, how about gossiping? Can you desist from it? In particular, Pope Francis deeply desires that we desist from gossiping. He said, "Those who gossip destroy like a bomb." If in this year of mercy each one of you could avoid becoming a terrorist of gossip, it would be a success for the church, a great success of holiness.
Le chiacchiere sono a mano di tutti, Quanto si chiacchiera nelle parrocchie. È buono questo o non è buono? È buono. Uno viene eletto presidente di quell'associazione, ma si chiacchiera contro di lui. E se quell'altra viene eletta presidenta della catechesi, le altre chiacchierano contro di lui. Ma no, questo non è la Chiesa, Questo non si deve fare, Non dobbiamo farlo, Io penso, cosa sono le chiacchiere? E niente, dire una parolina contro un altro o dire una storia, questo ha fatto... No. Fare chiacchiere è terrorismo, perché quello che chiacchiera è come un terrorista che butta la bomba e se ne va. Distrugge, con la lingua distrugge, non fa la pace.
Yes, gossip destroys like a bomb. Remember, mercy is not a sign of weakness or surrender, but the strong, magnanimous radiation of the loving omnipotence of the Father, who heals our weaknesses, raises us from our faults, and urges us to do good. Now, can you begin from your home? Can your home become an oasis of mercy? Or how about our parish? Can our parish become an oasis of mercy? Yes, it can, if you want to be an apostle of mercy.